Hi, hello, how are you? Am I ever gonna get a different intro? I don't know. But um this is a video about the Wheel of the Year, as you saw. And as pagans we're very familiar with the Wheel of the Year because it's something that we come across pretty much on day one. And that's, the fire festivals and the remaining Sabbats, which make up, what is it, eight? Is it eight, right? Spokes on a wheel, and these are all Celtic. All of them are Celtic um, festivals that we celebrate in modern paganism, modern witchcraft, and the like of. And yes, I do celebrate all of those, and a couple of others. So I am a blended pagan, right? So, and primarily Celtic at that. So yes, I celebrate the eight Sabbats in modern paganism, but I also celebrate just a few Hindu um, holidays as well. So I just wanted to go over my personal wheel of the year with you, because it has changed so much in the 5 years or so since I last made a video about my wheel of the year. So, a lot. So, I do have some dates written down because while we follow a solar calendar here in the West, in India and in much other parts of the Eastern world, they follow a lunar based calendar in terms of their holidays. So, what that means is that the dates for certain holy days are not always the same because the moon's phases are not always on the same day every year, right? So, starting with Samhain, of course, because it's topical and because that's kind of the start of our year, right? As pagans, I do celebrate Samhain. I love Samhain. In the past, I used to call it Shadow Fest when I was much more into my young, expressive gothicness. But yes, Samhain. Of course, I celebrate Samhain. Celebrate it on the 31st. Then after that, usually always on November 4th. Not always though. I will do a small celebration for Diwali, which is one of the Indian New Year's day of celebration. And then 12/21, of course, that is when I celebrate Yule. And that's usually when I do things specifically to honor the elves and elvish spirits. And I work with Freyr a lot on that day. Um, it, that's just something I've always done. And then we have Ostara, of course. I love Ostara. Um, and then Holi, just a few days later. It was this year, it was on the 29th of March. You're probably familiar with Holi because you'll see images of Indian people running around the street with colored powders, throwing them at each other everywhere. That is Holi. Holi is a celebration all about, well, I could go into the mythology of it, but it essentially, in modern context, is a day of celebration and release of anger and frustrations. So you can say and do kind of whatever you want on Holi, verbally speaking, and it's supposedly forgiven after Holi. So that's how I celebrate Holi. It is a day for me to release anger, negative emotions. It is a day of purging myself of restrictions that I have within myself. It is a day of release of negativity. So, Holi. After that, this year it was the 27th of April, Hanuman Jayarti, or just a day of Hanuman. Hanuman is a deity that I have really loved for a long time. Um, I was introduced to Hanuman in a personal way in 2011, and since then, Hanuman has just been in my consciousness, in my heart. Uh, Hanuman is a Hindu deity of compassion, of non-judgment, of unconditional love. He's a very positive deity. He is characterized by having monkey features. Like he is a monkey. I love Hanuman, and I always try to set aside that time somewhere around in there in April to honor Hanuman. I love Hanuman. So after that, we have Beltane, just a few days after this year, because it was on the 27th, and then on the 1st was Beltane. Love Beltane. That's when I really think about Morgan Le Fay a lot, my Arthurian connections a lot. Love Beltane. Love working with the Fae at Beltane. Love working with my ancestors in that way, like my blood ancestors at Beltane. It's a very important festival for me. Then we have Litha. Love Litha too, of course. Hello, hi. And then, of course, Lunasa. And then we have Ganesh Chaturthi. I can never say that word. It's like Jaharti, but it's like Chaharti. Anyway, it's the day of Ganesh, or Ganesha. And this year it was just recently, yeah, September 10th. And Ganesha is an elephant deity. I've talked about him for many years, going back to my first few videos on this channel. Love Ganesh. Always recommend Ganesh for people to reach out to if they have no idea what deity in the whole world to reach out to. Reach out to Ganesh. Ganesh is phenomenal. This is a Ganesh stan account. So, we love Ganesh. A lot. So, Om Jai Shri Ganesh. We love you. Okay. And then, of course, Mabon. I do celebrate Mabon as well. So, yeah. That's definitely a much more crowded holiday than what is normal. But, and I do observe the Esbits. I celebrate the new moons and the dark moons. I mean, the new moons. The new moons and the full moons. Some of those are, these Hindu holidays because they follow the markings of the moon. But yeah, I like to keep a crowded holiday schedule throughout the whole year. I don't like having gaps with holidays because holidays help me keep on track with a magical practice. They help me stay happy and sane. They keep me active. They give me something to do and something to look forward to. And they help deepen my connections with deity. Especially the Hindu part of my practice and beliefs. Because as a Westerner, I'm always kind of struggling to learn a little bit more Hindi, learn more pronunciations of all types of Indian dialects and Indian pronunciations and languages. In addition to me being a Hindu and practicing Hinduism with my witchcraft, with my warlockery, by extension, by practicing Hinduism as a Westerner, I'm always trying to break that barrier too of like having to learn so much about Indian culture to understand further about Hinduism. So anyway, with that said, that's why I do like to incorporate several Hindu holidays into my path, not just ones that venerate the gods that I work with, primarily being Hanuman and Ganesha at this time. In the past, I have celebrated the holy days of Shiva, of Shakti and Parvati, the holy days of Krishna, Vishnu, the holy day of Kalima. But at this time, it really is Ganesha and Hanuman for me. And anywho, yes, I just wanted to throw that out there because your Wheel of the Year can be unconventional. It can be made personal. For years, there was a good chunk of years there where I did not celebrate Ostara, Lunasa. I mean, there was a ton when I didn't do that. Now I love Lunasa because I have a personal working relationship with the god Lu. So your Wheel of the Year can change. It doesn't have to be stagnant and permanent. You can move things around. You can move holidays in and out. Some years you might not celebrate a holiday or do it in a big way, and that's okay. Anywho, I just wanted to share my will of the year because it has changed so much over my path, and it will probably change for forever. Um, However, I have kind of boiled it down to what is important to me, at least at this time. And yeah, I just wanted to share my will of the year with you, and I would love to hear about your will of the year. What do you celebrate? What do you not celebrate? And why do you celebrate them? And how do you celebrate? Those are all my questions. So, thank you so much for watching and continuing to support my channel. I do want it to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger. And don't forget to follow my link tree down below. You can book readings with me over on Facebook. You can request magical guidance sessions. We can do an astrology breakdown, or I can just read your tarot or your runes or what have you. You can follow me also on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you so much. And